Well, hello, greetings, good afternoon. My name is Paula. Also, my author's name is PB Morlen, and I am really excited to send out this video to all of you this afternoon because for a few weeks now, my new novel, Blue Flames Rising, Book 5 in the Whitebird series, has been available in both print and ebook formats on my website, pbmorlen.com. You can buy my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and other online stores by just visiting my website and navigating to the online store page, and you can purchase my new novel. Or start with book 1, Illuminating Crystal. Now, the reason I'm coming on today specifically is this is the month of June, and it's a very powerful month. We've all been feeling the effects of these super solar light code inputs. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk to any of you like you don't know what's really going on in our world today. If you are drawn to this video, then you resonate with dragons, you resonate with ancient knowledge, you resonate with mermaids and unicorns and galactics, and you understand that we are in the most auspicious of times because on June 8th, I believe, 12 pyramids were activated. They felt the pulse coming from Eden herself. You can find more out about that by just doing some research. What this tells us is that we are in the times of ascension. We are on a positive timeline. We will not go backwards as a human race. We've done that many times with different ages. And this is the beginning of the age of the human, meaning those beings that have been on our planet and have been manipulating it for eons and eons. Their time is up. They are now being given a directive to either recognize God as the creator, or they will be eliminated in one way or another. It's time to recognize God as our creator, not anything artificial, not something inverted. There are groups on this planet that their religion is the opposite of our God. And I'm not going to use any terms because right now, videos are being very closely looked at if they use particular language. And I do not want to go through some of the headaches that other voices in our truther community have gone through lately. Because we are being looked at. The voices in the truth community, in the disclosure community, those who know the truth of our world and subsequent worlds around us, all the different multidimensional universes, we understand that the 3D matrix is only an illusion. It's a movie. We have been put in this movie thousands of years ago, and now we are leaving the theater, let's say. So it's just an amazing time. Many of us are feeling the effects of heightened frequency, like ringing in the ears, nausea, body aches, strange dreams, the feeling that time is speeding up, which it is. And this is just our body adjusting to a higher frequency. Some humans at this point are not quite sure of what's going on. They feel a change coming. They feel the world is different. And yes, many are frightened, but I implore you not to be frightened. There's nothing to fear. We are on a positive timeline. As I tell my friends and family, everything is working out perfectly. It might look like tragedies are occurring right and left, but underneath it all, there is a beauty to what is happening, because many dark forces that have been in control for thousands of years are being found and dealt with. So I can say this comfortably because I'm very well informed. I've been researching this for dozens of years, if not decades. Most likely decades, because my books in the White Bird series are all about these times. The first book, Illuminating Crystal, I began writing that book in 1995. But I had to put my pen down. My computer, of course, computers were they were pretty much dinosaurs at that stage for home personal use. But my children were small, my beautiful daughters, and I was a stay-at-home mother. I did work outside the house. I was a waitress, which I loved doing, and I cleaned homes, and I was a gardener. I kind of had a plethora of ways to bring in income, but my main job was mama. So the story was there. The story of Crystal Blue, the story of Adam Walker, Elijah Lang, the story of all the animals, and the ancient knowledge that my beautiful protagonist awakens when she travels the world in different dimensions, because she has her DNA is activated when she finds a book, which happens to be the voice of the Akash. I wrote this book years ago. I finally published the first one in 2010. And then subsequently 2012, 2013, and book 4, Blue Crystal Mountains, was published in 2015. And so each book builds on the other. So it's a series of books, and the characters, they evolve along with the storyline. But the story is all about ascension. How humanity, many of us are here for our last lifetime, which we chose. We chose to be here for these moments. Some of us know this and some don't. Whether you call yourself a light worker or a starseed or a chosen one or whatever cap you want to wear, if you are awake to the fact that we are not here to just live a three-dimensional life. We are not here to just work. We are not here to live life daily and struggle. We've been herded, let's say, into groups and into societies, into cultures, purposefully. We have been taxed. We have been put into, and I say we have been put into not to be a victim, but it is part of a plan of this negative group that has controlled our planet for thousands of years, that we've been used and abused. And it is time, that time is over. My books are all about this. My books, I knew this way back when. I started writing these books and publishing these books with the thought that 2012 was going to be, which is considered the end of the Mayan calendar, the end times, December 21st, 2012. Many in the particular communities thought that the world was going to end. There was going to be complete anarchy, but it wasn't Armageddon, which is just another word for the veil thinning. And something did happen at that time, but not what we might have expected, because it was delayed. Not enough humans were awake to handle this, what was coming. So it was delayed. It was subverted. And another timeline came and went. Another timeline came and went. And now, the years that we are living in, this happens to be June 11th, 2026. The timelines are finally converging into two. And as my books have explained through a story, the greatest story ever told, movies have been written about this. All the movies about the science fiction, Star Wars, Star Trek, Dune, Stargate Command, I could name many movies. They're basically soft disclosures. There's a movie being released this summer called Disclosure, and I personally don't need to see that movie. I know the movie. But it's going to help awaken people, even though many people will think, well, this is only a movie. But that's what movies are intended to do, is to, it's kind of a law. If something is going to happen in our world, whether it's good or bad, it needs to be exposed early on. And that itself is a video all its own. But many of you are you know what I'm talking about. If you're drawn to this video, if you don't know directly, you know in your soul that everything happens for a reason. And I will go back to my books again, because what's exciting to me is that in 2015, when I published Blue Crystal Mountains, of course I continued writing, because the book isn't going to be done until book 7, Whitebird. But the story just went away. The story stopped when I was a few hundred pages into book 5, Blue Flames Rising. My characters just, it was like they went into hibernation. They were quiet. It wasn't even a writer's block. It was a pause. And I've discussed this in other videos, but I'm on the other side of it now. The book is done. The book is for sale. It's published. I never thought I would finish this book, because 10 years went by where I had nothing new came in. I had no idea where Crystal was going to go. I didn't know what would happen with Adam or David or the initiates or the animals or the soldiers. I did not know how Crystal would travel through Egypt. Nothing was coming to me. And then last December, I was very ill with the influenza. And I know I had uploads and downloads galore, because all of a sudden the story awakened. It just awakened within me. And I started writing. And I finished the book. And I'm very proud of my novel, Blue Flames Rising. I'm very touched by some of the information that came through me, for me, whether it was channeled. I'm sure it was my soul story spoken through these characters. And it's all about what's happening today. It's current. It is not, it wasn't a mistake or an accident that the story went quiet for 10 years. Because I think we as humans and humanity needed 10 years to show us what is really going on. We are not free beings. We are they tried to incorporate us with our birth certificate. Everything about us, it's in capital letters. We are not a corporation. I am not a person. I am a living woman. I'm a sovereign being. But I do live in this society. And so there are things that I will consciously agree to for a time yet. And I will decide when that will end, where I will not be part of the matrix world. At this point, I'm half in and half out. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, it is everything that our governments are demanding that we do to stay free in a way, without being indicted, without being incarcerated. But these are laws that were written by individuals who did not have human rights interests at heart. And so at this point, I could be considered Paula. I don't have to go by my birth given name, my last name, because once that birth certificate was created, I was basically owned by this country with my birth certificate. Social Security number. It's not for retirement. It's for keeping track of us so they know where we are. And I am very grateful that I know this. I have no problem talking about this with those who are interested. I have seen my circle of friends get smaller and smaller because it makes them uncomfortable to talk with me. I have never followed the normal path ever in my entire life. Almost purposefully, I will go the other way. I am an empath. I have gifts, as we all do. And I rebel against where a large group will go. I refuse to follow, to be a lemming. I will never, and I never have. You could ask anyone you know, or anyone I know, if the group goes one way, I will need to go to the other way, because I cannot follow unless I have chosen someone to learn from, unless I have chosen a group to evolve with. Then that is my choice to go with the group. It's not like I am being a rebel in every situation. It's my intuition is my guide, my inner knowing. I've always followed it. And that's why I'm often alone. I live alone. I'm single. I've been single for 20 years. I have 2 beautiful daughters, 2 beautiful grandsons, a brother, a sister, a mother, friends, co-workers. And maybe 1 or 2 of them really know the real me. It's just because I've never really disclosed the real me. However, I do so through my stories, because every character, most authors will say, well, most characters have a little bit of flavor of me, because that's writing from within. And so if you resonate with this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you so choose. There's going to be a little dragon icon somewhere that you can tap. Please leave a comment. Please visit my website. I will give that to you again, pbmorlen.com. you might need to put in the www.pbmorlen.com. I have a very small reader base. I always have. My books, when I wrote them and I published them, were way... my timing was a little early. Now my timing is perfect because, first of all, I published Book 5, Blue Flames Rising. The publication date is June 1st. And there are, obviously, because the book is set in Egypt, whether it's current Egypt or ancient Egypt, you'll need to find out. But the 12 pyramids around the world, and there is information out there if you search for it, which are the ones that received that, I think it was a 33 hertz pulse from below the Earth's surface, from Eden herself. And so that is to me, that is a nod, because I knew the book was published in June, and of course the Great Pyramid in Giza is one of those that were activated. This pyramid was, let's say, hijacked, with its beautiful, very galactic and very advanced frequencies were manipulated for thousands of years by a negative force. No longer. And so there are scenes in my book that take place in this pyramid, although the story itself does not center around Giza. I just find those connections fascinating, especially when we go to think of my crystal, my character in book 2, Crystal Blue Sky. She travels to South Dakota on the particular date where an event occurred a few hundred years ago that is a very powerful date to the Lakota Sioux. A very sad date. But when I wrote the story and I had Crystal travel to this area, happens to be just near Rapid City in the Black Hills, of course, Pine Ridge Reservation, Wounded Knee. I did not know when I was writing it that this particular event happened on the date that Crystal arrived to this area. Those kind of coincidences happen a lot with my books. I will write the book, I will write the scene, and years later, the connection will show itself, why I wrote that. I write things in my books, and I don't know why I created a character, or I had my character go here, or two characters meet. I just write from intuition and knowledge, and then after it's all written, then I discover why I did it. And I often laugh out loud because it is delightful that I have this, not all the time, of course, but there are situations where it's like, oh, now I know why I wrote that. I have this writing voice, when I write, that just needs to put these storylines down on paper. And I don't know often where they come from, but I don't try to figure it out, because that's the writer in me. I'm a creator, I'm a writer, I'm a gardener, and I design gardens, and I don't question how I know this, because it's innate. It's an innate ability. The story of Crystal Blue and Adam Walker, David Lang, Madeline Blue, these are some of my characters, only a handful. Of course, we can't forget Claire, Crystal's sister, and we can't forget Daniel, and all the soldiers. Anyway, don't need to go on and on about my characters. I just hope that you will decide for yourself to start reading my books. You can start with book 1, or you can start with the newest novel. I have a few book clubs that are interested. and they want to start with book 5. And I say, yeah, that's great. However, remember, it is book 5. Although in my books, I always list the cast of characters from book 1 all the way to book 5. For the first 2-3 books, I would write a synopsis at the beginning just to help the reader along. And then I decided, no, if they want to understand my books, they can go ahead and read the book. They can buy the paperback or they can download it as in an ebook form. It's really up to them. So I'm so glad I made this video today, because I haven't really made that direct official announcement that book 5 is now available for purchase. And I am so excited to share my book with you. And know that book 6, Sweet Madam Blue, is halfway finished already. So it won't be another 10 years between books. Most likely, I'll have this book written and published by the beginning of next year, because I already have the outline written for the last book in the series. So now I know where the story is going, and my characters are being very helpful with moving this story along. And it's following really quite nicely with what's happening in our world today. Very nicely. And so with that, I will say, I hope you're all having a wonderful June. You're staying healthy. You're taking care of yourself. Don't watch the news, please, because they're going to give you information that's not to your best interest. Do your own research. Really, that's how I've pulled away from that line of communication, because it doesn't serve my highest good. And play well together. This is a time in our lives where we need to be kind and loving. However, with your boundaries up, protecting yourself. You don't have to make yourself available and accessible to everyone. If you need to say no, say no, very kindly and firmly. No, that will not work for me. That does work for me when I use that language. And nod to those you pass in the street. You don't know what they're suffering. You don't have to be overly kind and gracious. Just hold the light. That's what we are. We are light bearers. And if you have hate in your heart, it's only hurting you. It is only hurting you, no one else. You can give it over to our Creator. Give it over to Yeshua, to Mary, to Lord Buddha, to Kuan Yin, to Tara, to White Buffalo Calf Woman, to Spider Grandmother, to Pele. All these different goddesses of ours around the world. Sekhmet, Hathor, Amunet. Whatever goddess you so choose, you can work with that goddess. The divine feminine, the divine masculine are rising. So I bid you Namaste, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments section. You can send me an email. You'll find my email on my website, and I will talk with you soon.